What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Player Ratings as Spurs beat West Ham by 2-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. And let's get straight into it, starting with Fraser Forster, 7s all round from us. Fairly quiet day for Forster, to be honest, but every time called upon, I thought he did well with that save in the first half and in the second half. I think that, look, he had a good game, but it was fairly quiet.
Yeah, I think the main moment was that save from Bowen in the second half, just after we scored. If they would equalise that moment, West Ham, that would have been a big blow. So it was really important to keep them out then. But other than that, it was fairly untested. There was that one moment right at the beginning of the game where Bowen has an early shot and it flied past him. He seemed to dive even after the ball had flown past him. Luckily, it went wide. But had a quiet day and his kicking was all right. So decent day for Forster.
Yeah, let's move on to Cuti Romero, which I thought he had an absolutely sensational display. Sim gives him a 9, I gave him an 8. Anticipation in the challenge, aggression, dinking the ball into Harry Kane and into the midfield. I thought it was an all-action display from Romero, and the anticipation on those challenges were just second to none, and it was really the Cuti Romero which we're being accustomed to watching. Much better performance than his performances of late. Just one small slight bad mark on his name was the when he got caught wrong-footed against Jarrod Bowen, where he let Bowen get the better of him when Forster made that save. So I knocked him down just for that, just because it could have easily been 1-1 at that stage, where you never know if we go on and win the game at that point. He just needs to be more aware. But apart from that, it was pretty much perfect.
Yeah, I thought he was sensational throughout. I thought he was super confident in this game, more confident than he's been in recent weeks, and I thought he had the quality to match it as well. He was flying into crunching challenges, coming out best every time. He did have that one moment where Bowen got behind him, but at least he forced Bowen a bit wide and made the finish tighter, so that was a positive with a difficult opportunity. And I thought his passing at the back was also really good, and he was putting Tottenham on the front foot. So it was one of those displays where he makes you realise why he's in the team.
Yeah, 100%. Head and shoulders our best defender by some way, and the only one really in that back line that is proactive, and you definitely saw that yesterday. But let's move on to Eric Dyer, 7s all round from us, and I thought he did really well up against Antonio. Antonio got really no spare change out of him whatsoever. A couple of wayward passes during the game, but apart from that, I thought he did really well, and a much better display than what we have seen the last couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. Not too much evidence of his showing off his passing range, but I thought defensively, I thought he was solid. He was stepping into midfield when he needed to. I thought Antonio was kept super quiet. He made easy work of him, and I thought he was really solid. No mistakes as well, which is crucial. So I'm pretty happy with Dyer.
And then to make up that back three, Clement Longley, 6s all round from us. Probably the poorest out of the three defensively. I thought he lost the ball quite a few times in the earlier stages when West Ham were on top, but after that I thought he grew into the game and became quite a good player.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with him with how many of the duels he was losing, to be honest. Especially early in the game, he seemed intent on giving West Ham a goal. It's like he was doing his best to make sure West Ham had some chances, but luckily it didn't come to anything. But I think throughout his passing wasn't particularly great either. I thought it was a bit wayward at times, and I thought he was rightfully taken off late in the game. I just wasn't impressed with Longley on the day.
Yeah. Moving on to Emerson Royale, 9s all round from us, and an absolutely sensational display. I mean, we seem to say every week it was Emerson's best performance of the season, but I think this was Emerson's best performance of the season. Coming into the midfield to make that extra option was a really valuable to us throughout the game. Defensively, he was absolutely perfect. Amount of sliding challenges and tackles. I think it was 7 successful challenges made and 5 interceptions on the day, which was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, he got his goal with a marauding run down the centre of the park where Ben Davies squared it to him and he slotted it really nicely. And later in the game, the party tricks were coming out, the no-look passes, the flicks and the tricks, showing that he actually is Brazilian. And those sliding tackles were so valuable to us right at the end, like 3 or 4 all in a row right in the same action. I thought was absolutely brilliant. So props where it's deserved, because Emerson, you are playing really well at the moment, so big up.
Yeah, and he's looking more confident. He's looking more at home with every game, especially ever since the Fulham game. game. He's really growing confidence. He's really getting better with his build-up play, especially with his progressive passing. Really impressive. His decision-making's getting a lot better as well. Defensively, he's always been solid, and he's just improving on that. And obviously, he took his opportunity to get the goal. Really smart run inside the West Ham backline. Ben Davies fouled him. It was a very composed finish from Emerson Royale to get into the corner. Very impressive from him. And long may it continue. Let's hope he continues playing this role. Still have reservations about his ability in the final third, but he did get a goal this week, so credit where credit's due. Fantastic from Emerson.
Let's move on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Sim gave us a 7. I gave him an 8. And I thought a lot of the work Højbjerg did yesterday did go unnoticed. Really strong in the midfield, and we won that midfield battle against Rice, Souček and Downs, and Højbjerg was very central to that. Him and Skip, to be fair, I thought both of them were brilliant. That really one lovely pass to Ben Davies to find him where we did score our first goal. But I just thought his challenges and his aggression in the midfield really stood us in good stead.
Yeah, and hopefully he can carry on this kind of form. Had a great game against City, then dropped his standards against Leicester, but was back at it again against West Ham. Really tenacious, really helped dominate the midfield. And I think that moment of magic in the second half really helped win us the game. I think if Højbjerg doesn't play that pass, who knows if we would have gone on to win. So brilliant pass, which is something he does more often than people think. And it was a brilliant ball to Ben Davies, which made the goal. So absolutely fantastic from Højbjerg.
Next up, Ollie Skip. Sims gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. And look, Skippy is playing really well at the moment. Started off at Preston with that cameo, and we're like, all right, it's only Preston, but really good game. Looked like it was the Skippy of old, back in the Nuno, early Conte days, pre his big injury that he did get. Put in a much better display in the San Siro, where he was one of our better players. And yesterday, I thought it was top the lot, to be honest. One of the best players on the park yesterday. The way he was winning the balls with really well timed tackles in the second half, especially as well. After he got booked inside the first 10 minutes as well, you're thinking, how's he going to do this? But he did it to perfection, really, and he was passing the ball forward, progressive passes, and also driving forward at times as well. So I thought Skippy was really good yesterday. Yeah,
very mature performance, especially on the yellow card. It would have been easy to get overruled by the occasion, especially coming up against midfielders like Rice, who like a dribble and they like a challenge, and it's going to be difficult to keep your head on when you're on a yellow card after 10 minutes. But he did so, and not only did he do that, he thrived, and they won the midfield battle, and he was able to stay a bit tenacious and be aggressive while also striking that balance so he doesn't get a second yellow. I thought it was really good display from Ollie Skip, and he repaid the faith from Stellini and keeping faith with him from Wednesday.
Moving on to Ben Davies, started left for wing back, ended up at left centre back after Longley went off. Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 7, and I thought to his wing-back role, I thought he took a bit of time to get into the game, but I thought once he did get into the game, he was providing us with such a good option on that left-hand side, getting really high up the pitch, albeit quality in terms of crosses wasn't really there, but I thought he was just providing a really good option for us. We were much more solid defensively down that side as well when he was there, and obviously that really nice run, central run to create that assist for Emerson Royale, I thought was brilliant. But I think it's probably been the best left wing-back display we've seen in recent weeks, with Perisic not really playing too well at the moment.
Yeah, I think he did all right. I think when he was asked to do some be efficient in the final third or be effective, I thought his crossing was pretty atrocious, not going to lie. I think it went out of play or hit the front post, like the side netting a few times, so definitely a lot to improve on that front. But I did feel like his build-up play was really strong, his defensive ability was really strong, and he was just a bit of a nuisance for West Ham, getting in really awkward positions and always making them think about where he is. And obviously got a brilliant assist for his goal. What a run that is, by the way, in behind the defence, and being able to outpace the defender and get him behind and then play the pass on a plate for Emerson as well. Very impressive. So fair play to Davies. I thought he had played well, but I don't want to see him in that position too many times. But look, it is what it is. Sessegnon's injured, so at least we know that he can fill in there now.
Yeah, definitely. Kulusevski, Sim gives him a 7, I gave him a 6. I thought it was pretty much more of the same in the first half for Kulusevski, what we have been seeing the last couple of weeks. Second half, he came alive straight away. In that second half, you saw him really being a nuisance, and he created that chance for Harry Kane where he should have done a bit better from. And I thought just for the remainder of the time he was on the pitch, he was just being a nuisance, but I still expect a bit more from Kulu.
I was pretty happy with the second half performance. I thought it was a bit of a return to form. He seemed to be sharper and have a lot more energy in that second half than he did in the first. In the first, he was a bit busy with Emerson on the right without really doing much. But second half, he created 2 chances in the opening 5 minutes, one for Richarlison and one for Kane. He had a nice attempt on goal from 25 yards as well, which Fabianski had to push away. And I thought he was linking up really well on the right-hand side of Emerson in that second half. And it was unlucky. He kept going down around the outside and trying to cut back for Kane as well to no avail. But I thought in the second half he earned himself a higher rating, so I gave him a 7.
Richarlison up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. I was a bit disappointed with his performance, to be fair. Everyone's calling for him to come into the team, and he got his chance, and I don't really think he took it, to be honest. I think first half there were a lot of moments where the ball gets played into him and he's playing heavy touches or poor passes and just leaves you wanting more every time you see him play. And I think second half was a bit more of the same, and he needs to get his control a bit better and really command the ball in the final third and really have a bit more quality about him in the final third as well, which I don't think he did yesterday. The good thing that he put in a lot of effort, a lot of running, a lot of backing in defenders and being physical and stuff like that, which was definitely a good point of his game, but I'd like to see a bit more quality.
Yeah, the best way I'd describe him was he was a bit of a nuisance, but he didn't really have the quality to hurt West Ham in the final third. I thought they shackled him fairly comfortably. He had one moment right at the end of the first half where he got beyond the West Ham defence after a good ball from Kane, but his shot was always at a tight angle and it got well saved by Fabianski. He should have won a penalty as well in the first half when one of his passes was blocked by the hand of, I think it was Emerson from West Ham. But unfortunately for Spurs, that wasn't given. But I did think he was one of the weakest players when it comes to quality on the team, unfortunately for him. And one thing I would say is he definitely did help butter up Kehrer for Sonny when he did come on, because I think he was he was getting tired and he was, after having a physical battle with Richarlison. But we need to see more quality of him on the ball.
Yeah, 100%. And the last of the starting 11, Harry Kane, 7s all round from us. And look, I thought Kane was putting himself about, being really dominant and physical up against the West Ham defenders, and that's what brought us our second goal as well. Him being physical up against Ogbonna, forcing him into a mistake, and he slots it through to Son with a lovely ball, and Son does the rest. But I thought that was happening quite a lot with Kane, to be fair. He was being very physical up against the West Ham defenders, winning the ball quite a few times, making it stick, but he couldn't really get those passes off as often as he wanted. I thought there was a lack of maybe movement around him at times, but he was definitely trying throughout the game and really roughing up the West Ham defenders. So I thought he played well.
Yeah, he was probably unlucky maybe not to get maybe more than one assist, but he had that brilliant pass I mentioned to Richarlison in the first half. In the first half, though, he couldn't really get involved in like the goal-scoring positions or anything like that. He lined up one from 25 yards and slipped, and it fell into Fabianski's hands. Second half, when Kulusevski in the first 5 minutes laid one on for him, he shanked it wide, and then he laid one on for Kulusevski, who laid it for Richarlison, who unfortunately his finish wasn't good enough. But then he did get his moment in the second half with a really pinpoint through ball into Son. Son's first touch makes it, and it makes it 2-0. That killed the game, and I thought from then on his hold-up play was really strong. He'll probably be disappointed though he didn't get into a few more goal-scoring positions, but it was one of those real team performances from Kane.
And last but not least for the playing staff is Heung-min Son. Came on for Richarlison, 8s all round from us, and you saw as soon as he came on the movement he was showing, the touches he was showing, running in behind. I thought he was just a bit of a live wire all the way through his appearance on the pitch yesterday, and obviously got his goal with a lovely touch into his path and slots it home like he usually does. So big up to Heung-min Son. It brings up the question again, should he start next week? But I think that this kind of thing of bringing him off the bench against tired legs is really standing us in good stead. So maybe I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, you just think logically, he's one of the probably the few players you'd ever want to face after coming off the bench, Sonny, with his with his skill set and his ability. So I think it's working really well in the 2 times we've done it. So I would like to see us use it more, but he showed his elite finishing ability and first touch only on the pitch for 5 minutes when he did it. Really good run and first touch, and not overcomplicating things, just doing the really basic things really well. And that's what Son's always been good at, and that's what Richarlison can maybe learn from. But he did help that he was coming up against tired legs, had a lot more space to play in as well because we were already 1-0 up. So they know West Ham had to come out a bit and try and save the situation, which allowed Son to get in. But I thought it was a really bright cameo from him and a really good finish. Interestingly, from the finish, it was similar to his goal against West Ham last season, but last season he went near post. This season went far post, and that's maybe why Fabianski got fooled into going the wrong way. But really nice finish, I felt, by Son, so I'm really happy for him to get on the score sheet.
And last but not least, Christian Stellini, 8 all round, filling in for Conte once again. Now that's 3 games, 3 wins, 3 big games as well when you look at it. Marseille away in a pivotal game in the Champions League, Man City at home against obviously the reigning champions, and West Ham in a big London derby. So you've got to give him props for filling in quite admirably for Antonio Conte, albeit this time he did have a lot more help, I think, from Conte than he has done in the past. I thought tactically in the first half, we didn't put in our greatest display, but I still thought we were the better team. Second half, he did make a few tweaks tactically. I'm not sure if it was Conte or him, but it definitely brought the best out of the team, because the first goal came from it with Emerson and Davis running centrally, and the second goal came from it as well, with Kane being aggressive up against Ogbonna and Sonny running in behind. So he made the changes to impact the game. He made tactical switches in the second half to impact the game, and we won the game. We're 2-0 against West Ham, so happy days.
Yeah, I thought he timed the Son substitution to perfection. He came on, and then within 5 minutes he'd scored a goal. I thought that we'd pretty much had West Ham under control throughout the whole game. Even when we went through periods where we weren't creating anything, it didn't seem like West Ham were going to do much either. And I think it was a well-deserved victory. So credit to Stellini for managing the team, doing the right subs, and I think the the starting lineup as well. He was vindicated. So fair play to him.
All right, there you have it. That is our player ratings from the 2-0 win against West Ham. Maybe Mark Noble's watching, seeing as he's a massive Spurs fan now. But thank you, everyone, for watching us today. Let us know your ratings in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.